This is the Olympus RM-CB2 wired remote shutter release cable for Olympus OM-D cameras as well as the OM system cameras. I'm gonna just unbox it quickly. So there's a basic instruction manual and a Velcro type strap if you want to attach it to somewhere. So one of the places where you would want to attach a remote would be the handle of a video head or a tripod or a monopod. So this is the remote itself. There's a button and it has two stages to it. So one to kind of obtain focus, like half press the shutter button, and one to fully press it. And there's also a lock feature. And it doesn't take any batteries, so it operates completely without any batteries, but you have to connect it to the camera. So in that sense, it's good. It doesn't require battery charging or anything like that. The RM-CB2 remote is compatible with the Olympus OM-D EM1 Mark II, EM1 Mark III, the EM1X, the EM5 Mark III, the OM5, the OM1, and the OM1 Mark II. So I'm going to try it on the OM1 and the EM1X. In terms of its dimensions, it's about 11 centimeters long for this part here, and the thickness is about 2 centimeters, and its width is about 2.5 centimeters. And the cable that comes with it is about 85 centimeters. And it weighs 68 grams, and it has one of these 2.5 millimeters mini stereo plugs, which is pretty much compatible with most of the Olympus OM-D cameras. So the advantage of using a remote like this is that you can press the shutter button without actually touching the camera, which is necessary when shooting long exposure to eliminate camera shake. And it also allows you to lock the release button for bulb exposure. And there's another advantage to it, is that you can use this to start and stop video recording instead of actually pressing the record on the camera. So this can be quite useful if you attach it to the handle of a video head, and then while you're moving the head you can press start and stop, so you don't need to take your hand off of the handle in order to start or stop video recording. Also, if you have the camera attached to a location which is difficult to reach, then you can just have this connected to it and start and stop video recording easier. Another option is to also obviously use the Olympus app, which you can get on your phone and just remotely with Bluetooth connect to the camera and then start and stop video recording or take pictures or whatever else. But this is something that has been available for cameras for a very long time before apps existed. So let me connect it to OM1 and see how that works. Okay, so on the OM1, on the side of the camera, you have this flap which you can open. And plug it in there. So I'm gonna switch on the camera and let's see if it takes pictures. Yeah, so it takes a picture, so that works. So that's just holding down the shutter button the whole time. So if I unlock this, the shutter button will come up. So this is particularly useful if you're doing long exposure photography. In order to start and stop video recording, first I want to show you what happens if I just press it while I'm in video mode. So you can see that nothing happens when I press the shutter button. So if I go to the menu and button settings and then shutter function and then switch this to record. So now the shutter button will start video recording. So I'm gonna come out of the menu and I'm gonna press the shutter button here and it should start video recording. Okay, so you can see the red frame around the screen and that means video recording has started. So I'm gonna press it again to stop video recording. And there you can see that video recording stopped. Now if I use the video record button on top of the camera, that shouldn't work anymore. Yeah, the video record button on the camera doesn't work anymore. So you have to choose whether you want the shutter button or the video record button on the camera to work. So let me try to start video recording with the shutter button on the camera itself. So there you can see that you can use the shutter button to start video recording, and I'm going to press the shutter button on the camera to stop video recording. So once you have this setting changed, then you can use either the shutter button on the camera or the shutter button on the remote to start video recording, but you can't use the dedicated video record button on the camera to start video recording. And I'm going to do the same thing on the EM1X. So the reason I want to do it on the EM1X is because the menu system on the EM1X is slightly different. You have the same place to insert it on the right hand side of the grip, and you insert it there, and I'm going to turn on the camera. Let me see if I can take a picture. I'm actually in video mode, so let me turn this to manual. So there you can see it says M, which is manual mode. So let me see if I can take a picture. Okay, yes, it did take a picture. So if I half press the shutter button on the remote, it will try to obtain focus. So that's the camera trying to focus. And if I press it fully, then it will take a picture. Okay, so as you can see, the picture here is out of focus. I've intentionally made it out of focus. And if I half press the shutter button on the remote, then it should obtain focus. So let's try that. Okay, so as you can see now, the image is now in focus here on the screen of the camera. And if I press it fully, then it will take a picture. So if you go to the menu and go to video menu and then button, dial and lever functions, let me take this off, and then go to shutter function. Here we can configure to start video recording. So that should start video recording. I'm going to come out of the menu. I've gone to video mode now on the mode dial, and if I press the shutter release button, it should start video recording. So as you can see, the recording is started there and it's writing to the memory card. So if I press it again, it should stop video recording. And the video recording has stopped. So you can use this remote both for taking pictures and long exposure photography by locking it in place. And you can use it to half press the shutter button to obtain focus, and then fully press it to take a picture. And you can also configure the camera to start video recording with this shutter release. Okay, so this is a simple remote, so it doesn't have batteries, which is good, but it also lacks the more advanced features that some of the other remotes have. So a few alternatives exist depending on the camera that you use. For example, there is the OM System RM-WR1 Wireless remote control. And that one, you can connect a cable to it and use the cable as well with it, but it also works with Bluetooth, so you can control the OM1 or some of the Olympus OM-D cameras with that remotely and wirelessly as well. And you can also use it with a wired. But that one takes a battery, so you have to use a battery with it. I think if you connect just the cable and you don't use any of the advanced features on that, then you can get away without having a battery in it. Another option which exists is third-party wireless alternatives. I can't remember the brand names, but there's a few alternatives that exist. And the way they work is they have a wireless adapter which plugs into the port on the side, and then you have a wireless remote. So the wireless remote speaks to the adapter, which is connected with a cable to the camera. And there's another option as well, which I have here. This is a JJC, and there's a few things about this. So it's quite advanced in that you can configure, all the bulb and, long exposure photography on here. How many pictures you want to take, so you can do interval recording, and it has a beep sound, and it has a interface as well. But the disadvantage it has is that it takes 2 AAA batteries, so you have to make sure that you have two AAA batteries that are charged before you use it. But if you have any of the OM-D cameras that are lacking the interval recording or any of the other features, then you could use this. Another advantage of this is that a lot of the Olympus OM-D cameras have a 30-minute limit on video recording. So what you can do with this is to configure it to press the shutter release button every 30 minutes so that your video recording will restart itself. So you can set up these cameras on tripods for static shots, and then if you connect this to them, then you can essentially have it restart the video recording every 30 minutes. So there will obviously be like a few seconds or at most 1 minute where video isn't being recorded, but then you don't need to man that particular camera. You can just leave it with this and it will continue to do video recording. So this is one of the advantages that this remote has over the Olympus one. And obviously if you have the OM1 camera or OM5 or one of the later generation of OM system cameras that don't have the 30-minute limit anyway, so you don't need to worry about that. But for the older cameras, this is an interesting option. Another thing is that this actually comes with a placeholder and a clamp, and the advantage of that is that you can clamp this onto the video head's handlebar. So if you have a video head and you have your camera mounted on that with a handlebar, then you can connect that in here and then have this attached to the handlebar, which is quite convenient. So you can start and stop video recording or configure it, and you don't actually need to touch the camera itself. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions about the RM-CB2 shutter release remote, and also if you want me to compare it properly to the JJC or any other alternatives that are available for Olympus cameras.